Have you ever been bullied or bullied someone else? In 2016, Japan released a controversial movie that dives deep into bullying and self-loathing. It's a heartfelt journey from pain to healing. The story revolves around a high school student named Ishida. He crosses off the days on his calendar and sells all his clothes. He takes out all the savings he earned from his part-time job and gently places it beside his mother's pillow. He walks past a large bridge. He imagines jumping off it, but he does not do it, because he has to meet a very important person. Before that, he cannot kill himself. The story starts 6 years earlier. Back then, Ishida was just a naive elementary school student. To Ishida, boredom was the worst thing. He would always drag his little group to look for something new to do. They roamed around, jumping into rivers, fighting, just being naughty. Every day was about beating the boredom little by little. One day, a new student joined the class. She wore a pink top and her hair was cut above her ears. She looked like a cute and well-behaved girl. At that time, Ishida did not know. This girl who seemed frail would change his entire life. The teacher asked the new student to introduce herself. She was deaf and could not speak like other people. She opened her backpack and took out a notebook. It had her self-introduction written on it. Her name was Shoko. She wanted to make friends with everyone through this notebook. Shoko's special way of introducing herself stunned her classmates. They started whispering among themselves. During break, a few classmates gathered around Shoko. The class leader, Miki, wrote her name in the notebook. Everyone started chatting with Shoko through the notebook. In class, Shoko could not hear the teacher. Naoka, who sat at the back, took notes for her. Unfortunately, the initial curiosity faded. People who could speak freely found it too cumbersome to communicate through writing. Gradually, everyone started distancing themselves from Shoko. Because of her hearing impairment from a young age, Shoko also had a speech disorder. Her off-key voice affected the class's participation in a choir competition. Discontent towards Shoko spread among the classmates. Distance turned into isolation. Some even mocked and teased her. Among them was Ishida. He would even mimic Shoko's strange speech in front of the whole class. Even so, Shoko still kindly used sign language to express her wish to be friends with Ishida. What she did not expect was, Ishida's reply to her was a handful of dirty sand. To help Shoko fit in with the group, the teacher suggested that the classmates learn sign language. Few in the class agreed, and Naoka even stood up to oppose it directly. A classmate named Miyoko said she was willing to learn. She became Shoko's only friend. Soon, the isolation that Shoko faced also fell upon Miyoko. Other classmates called Miyoko a teacher's pet and constantly talked behind her back. Eventually, one day Miyoko never came back to school. Shoko was left alone again. Looking at Miyoko's empty seat, Ishida thought that all of this was Shoko's fault. This made him dislike Shoko even more. He wrote mocking words about Shoko on the blackboard. Just then, Shoko walked in. Ishida pretended that someone else had written them and helped Shoko erase the words. He did not expect that after erasing them, Shoko would write a thank you on the blackboard. This annoyed him even more. After that, Ishida and Naoka bullied Shoko more frequently. One time, Naoka, curious about the hearing aids Shoko wore on her ears, snatched them and threw them to Ishida. Ishida threw them directly into the trash can. After that, Ishida would suddenly shout into Shoko's ears, pour water over her head with a hose, and often steal Shoko's hearing aids. Once, he even went too far and caused Shoko's ear to bleed. He was called to the office by a teacher for a scolding, but he did not think he was wrong. On the way home, he encountered Shoko, who wrote sorry in her notebook. Ishida thought Shoko was being hypocritical. Even though he bullied her like that, she still apologized. Shoko still sincerely used sign language to express her wish to be friends with Ishida. An embarrassed Ishida loudly called it disgusting and threw her notebook into a pond before leaving. The next day, Shoko did not come to school. The principal said that Shoko's mother had called the school to report that in the 5 months Shoko attended the school, she had damaged or lost 8 hearing aids worth 1.7 million yen. She suspected her daughter was being bullied by classmates. Parents and teachers only then became aware of the bullying. The teacher angrily accused the main culprit, Ishida. Those classmates who usually bullied Shoko with Ishida, like Miki, Naoka, and Kazuki, all shifted the blame to him. Naoka said Ishida had indeed played some pranks. Kazuki said, I tried to stop him, but he insisted on doing those things. Miki simply pretended to be innocent and started crying. Ishida became the target of everyone. He was pushed into a pond by his classmates. There, Ishida found Shoko's notebook filled with painful memories of being ostracized and mocked by classmates. This time, Ishida, who had always been the aggressor, finally understood what it felt like to be a victim. After hearing about Ishida bullying his classmate, his mother withdrew a large sum of money from the bank to compensate and formally apologized to Shoko's mother. When she returned, she had some bloodstains on her and one of her earrings was missing. It was then that Ishida clearly realized the severity of his mistakes, but his mother did not blame him. The bullying at school continued. The things that had happened to Shoko seemed like a punishment now happening to Ishida. Ishida would be hit with balls, his shoes would be thrown into the trash can, and he would have water poured over him from a hose. One day, just as Ishida was about to enter the classroom, he saw Shoko wiping something off his desk. When he ran over to look, he found nothing, but Shoko's innocent expression inexplicably angered him. So, he took out all his frustration from being bullied on Shoko. They ended up fighting. In the chaos, Shoko kept shouting, "Do your best, do your best." She wanted to encourage Ishida to pick himself up, but her strange accent made it hard for Ishida to understand her, and he never imagined this would be their last meeting. The next morning, Shoko transferred to another school. After Shoko left, Ishida found that every day someone had written insults on his desk with chalk. He then realized that it had always been Shoko who secretly wiped them off. After Shoko transferred, Ishida continued to be bullied. This situation didn't change even when he moved up to middle school because his classmate Kazuki had spread the word about Ishida bullying others, so he was still isolated. He felt abandoned, having not only no friends but also no one to talk to. Gradually, he couldn't even look people in the face. Even entering a high school with few acquaintances didn't improve the situation much. That's why he thought of killing himself, but before that, he had one last thing he needed to do. He needed to see Shoko one more time and return her notebook. Ishida goes to the sign language school to find Shoko and introduces himself as her elementary school classmate. Seeing Ishida in front of her, Shoko tries to appear calm and even tries to force a smile. But her past experiences of being bullied make her too scared. Eventually, she runs off without looking back, but soon she realizes that Ishida is following her. Finally, with nowhere to hide, a scared Shoko crouches by a wall. Ishida slowly walks up to her, facing Shoko whom he hasn't seen in 5 years, and doesn't know what to say at first. He hands her the notebook and uses sign language to tell her, "This is your lost item." Shoko is shocked, not because of the notebook, but because Ishida has learned sign language. Looking at the notebook, Shoko is deeply moved. Then, Ishida conveys in sign language that he wants to be friends with her. When they were young, Shoko made the same gesture to him, but only after learning sign language does Ishida understand its meaning. Unexpectedly, those simple gestures make Shoko cry. They feed the fish on a bridge surrounded by blooming cherry blossoms. Shoko says she comes here every Tuesday. After meeting Shoko, Ishida dismisses the idea of killing himself. Images of his always forgiving mother and a tearful Shoko flash through his mind. Perhaps instead of a final escape, he finds something more meaningful to do. But he is unsure. The harm he once did to the girl and the guilt he feels for his own pain over the years make him unsure how to face Shoko and how to deal with himself. The next day, Ishida's mom holds the bag of money that he put beside her pillow and questions him. She has already noticed his intention to kill himself, so she points a lighter at the bag of money and threatens him not to do it. Seeing the hard-earned money about to go up in flames, Ishida immediately bows deeply and promises to live well. However, they accidentally set the money on fire and have to quickly put out the flames. Tuesday arrives as expected. Ishida is nervous yet eager to meet Shoko. He sees a boy stealing a classmate Tomohiro's bicycle. Having personally experienced school bullying, Ishida can't help but intervene, yet he lacks the courage to say no. So, he offers his own bicycle to the boy to prevent him from stealing Tomohiro's. Without a bicycle, Ishida has to walk to the sign language school to see Shoko. Along the way, he worries about whether he deserves to be Shoko's friend. To make his visit appear more casual, he specifically buys a loaf of bread to feed the carp with Shoko. However, Shoko's classmate named Yuzuru questions Ishida's intentions and coldly turns him away at the door, challenging him, "Are you really Shoko's friend?" Ishida is left speechless. On his way back, Ishida runs into Tomohiro, the classmate he helped in the morning. Tomohiro excitedly calls out to Ishida. It turns out Tomohiro had been looking for a while and finally found Ishida's bicycle. Ishida suddenly feels a warmth he has almost forgotten. For the first time in many years, he looks someone in the face. Tomohiro has a straightforward smile and a funny haircut. He has been sitting behind Ishida in class all along, but Ishida had never noticed. Tomohiro becomes a light in Ishida's dark world. They go to school together, watch movies together, and eat together. Ishida smiles for the first time in a long while and even starts confiding his troubles to Tomohiro. For example, he doubts his own definition of friendship and feels he doesn't deserve to be anyone's friend. Tomohiro, seeing his distress, pretends to be cool and gestures to Ishida, saying, "This is what friendship is. It exists beyond words and reasoning. No qualifications needed." Inspired by Tomohiro, Ishida decides to try again to see Shoko. Although Shoko is sitting in the classroom studying, Yuzuru lies and claims she isn't there, saying he's Shoko's boyfriend. Tomohiro steps in and secures Ishida a chance to see Shoko. Although Yuzuru is annoyed, he can only watch from a distance with his camera. Cherry blossoms fall gently from the trees as the two communicate in sign language. Shoko thanks Ishida for the notebook that was once lost and returned. The notebook contains many unfriendly words written by former classmates. Ishida tries to stop Shoko from continuing to flip through it. Their struggle causes the notebook to fall into the river. Unexpectedly, this notebook is so important to Shoko that she jumps into the river without hesitation to retrieve it. Ishida follows, and inadvertently sees under Shoko's skirt. Later, they retrieve the soaked notebook. When they part, a very happy moment occurs for Ishida when Shoko makes a gesture before leaving. In sign language, this gesture means, "See you next time." Afterwards, Yuzuru posts a photo of Ishida jumping into the river online. Ishida is immediately suspended from school for a week because diving into that river is strictly prohibited. With nothing else to do, Ishida helps his sister pick up his niece. He coincidentally runs into Yuzuru, who has run away from home after an argument with Shoko. After talking, Ishida finally understands that it was Yuzuru who posted the photo online. However, Ishida isn't angry. Seeing Yuzuru's pitiful look, Ishida eventually takes him home. They have dinner together. Ishida plans to let Yuzuru stay with him for a while, but Yuzuru leaves alone in the middle of the night. As it continues to rain heavily, Ishida, worried, finds Yuzuru. He offers to take Yuzuru home. Facing such an Ishida, Yuzuru voices his doubts. "What are you trying to do? Play the good guy? Felt proud helping me? Think it's funny, right? You used to think bullying Shoko was funny, right? Now you've learned sign language. Do you think you can make amends like that? You're disgusting." After hearing Yuzuru's words, Ishida is stunned. He says he just doesn't want Shoko to cry anymore. Perhaps moved by Ishida's words, Yuzuru tells him before leaving that he isn't actually Shoko's boyfriend but her sister. After revealing this, Yuzuru leaves a stunned Ishida behind and walks away. Ishida had previously thought she was a boy. Then a figure appears, it's Shoko's mother. She sees Ishida and slaps him. After so many years, Shoko's mother still hates Ishida immensely. Yuzuru doesn't like Ishida because Ishida used to bully Shoko. But Yuzuru slowly realizes that Ishida is not a bad person. Yuzuru stops avoiding Ishida and lets his sister meet him. Ishida pulls out his new phone. He wants to ask for Shoko's email but feels too shy to ask directly. So, he asks if Shoko wants to exchange emails with a friend. To his surprise, Shoko mentions Miyoko, her only friend from elementary school, the one who was willing to learn sign language. Ishida decides to help Shoko find Miyoko. He learns from Miki which school Miyoko attends and plans to meet her. Shoko also wants to go with him. On a sunny afternoon, they board a train together to find Miyoko. They stand facing each other by the door in the empty train car, their eyes meeting accidentally and then quickly looking away. While Ishida is lost in thought, his phone suddenly rings. It's a message from Shoko thanking him for helping her find Miyoko and saying she is very happy. When he looks up, he sees a smiling face. When they find Miyoko, she has grown into a beautiful young girl. She tells Shoko she is happy to see her again and apologizes for leaving her alone all those years ago and choosing to escape. While they chat happily, Ishida gives them space and wanders off. Here he unexpectedly runs into Naoka, who has been missing for a long time and now works at a nearby club. They only exchange a glance and do not talk. That day, Miyoko and Shoko go shopping and sing together. Shoko seems truly happy. After re-encountering Naoka, Ishida wrestles with whether to let Naoka make amends with Shoko. One day, Ishida runs into Naoka on the street. While they talk, they see Shoko across the street. Naoka runs over and snatches Shoko's hearing aid, surprised to find there is only one. Shoko's hearing has gotten worse and now one ear cannot hear at all. She plans to throw it around like old times. Ishida stops Naoka's prank, telling her he and Shoko have become friends. Naoka laughs and says Ishida has become so lame and tells him to continue playing their friendship game before walking away without looking back. Maybe Ishida's protection gives Shoko courage. She ties her hair in a high ponytail and picks out a gift. That evening, unusually, she speaks to Ishida and gives him her gift. She gathers the courage to shout a long practice like to Ishida, but her pronunciation is so strange that he doesn't understand. Ishida is frustrated that he didn't understand Shoko's words. Later at home, a shy Shoko tells Yuzuru via email that she told Ishida she likes him but didn't express it well. Since the confession, Shoko hasn't appeared for several days, making Ishida very anxious. Yuzuru tells him to try inviting Shoko out to play. If she doesn't want to see him, she will definitely refuse. Enlightened, Ishida texts Shoko inviting her and everyone else out for the weekend. Ishida invites several people to come. Maybe he wants Miki and Shoko to make up, so he invites Miki, who also bullied Shoko in elementary school along with Miki's crush Satoshi. Surprisingly, Miki also calls Naoka to come. Everyone has fun as if their painful pasts vanish with the laughter. Naoka's face becomes clearer, the cross mark on her face fall away. Naoka intentionally takes Ishida to meet Kazuki, who works at an amusement park. Kazuki is the classmate who initially shirked responsibility and spread rumors in middle school that Ishida bullied others, leading to Ishida being isolated. Kazuki also bullied Ishida in elementary school and pushed him into the pool. Ishida looks at Kazuki in front of him. Memories of being bullied by him instantly flood his mind. He turns and walks away. As he leaves, cross marks appear on both Kazuki and Naoka's faces. This is when he understands why Shoko's mother hates him so much. He realizes he, like Kazuki, truly does not deserve forgiveness. Naoka quickly follows him, explaining that she only hoped they would reconcile. But Ishida feels this is just her doing things her own way. He doesn't like that Naoka assumed he would want to see Kazuki. However, when he turns and sees Shoko surrounded by people, he suddenly realizes that bringing everyone together to see Shoko was his own assumption too. He realizes he and Naoka are no different. At this moment, Ishida feels incredibly disheartened. He finally understands that everything was just an illusion. He really doesn't deserve forgiveness. Can someone who bullied others really be forgiven? Naoka asks Ishida a question. It is about whether everything would be different if Shoko had never appeared. She asks if everyone would have been nice to Miyoko if Shoko never appeared and if he and Kazuki would still be friends. Maybe that is why Naoka still does not like Shoko. Ishida is silent. Naoka asks Ishida if he hates her. Ishida replies, maybe. Suddenly, Naoka runs to Shoko and invites her to ride the Ferris wheel together. Yuzuru seems worried and deliberately hangs an open camera on her sister. As expected, the camera captures an unpleasant scene. Naoka bluntly states that she hates Shoko because Shoko ruined everything around Ishida. Naoka suggests that since they dislike each other, how about they get along peacefully? Shoko's reply is like a loud slap in Naoka's face. Shoko trembles and says, "It's not like that." Shoko explains she doesn't hate others, she hates herself. She apologizes as usual, but this only brings more dissatisfaction from Naoka. Naoka raises her hand to slap Shoko, scolding her for not changing at all in 5 years. Naoka's reaction might not be too surprising, but Shoko's response makes Ishida and Yuzuru realize a more serious problem. Shoko hates herself. Her self-loathing during the apology and her habit of blaming herself for everything make Ishida wish Shoko would not be so hard on herself. However, before he can act, misfortune strikes him first. Miki slips up in class, leading many to learn about Ishida's past bullying of Shoko. This draws the entire class's attention to Ishida. Ishida recalls many unpleasant memories and feels physically sick. He stumbles out and rides away from school. In the lingering evening sunlight, tall utility poles stand by the road. Ishida, with his head down and back hunched, rides past them. He stops his bike by the river and crouches down, a breeze bringing a slight chill. Looking at his reflection in the water, Ishida murmurs, "I hate myself too." He understands that he and Shoko share a strong self-loathing. Perhaps it is this persistent shadow that made him think about jumping into the river a few months ago. In a daze, Ishida arrives at the place where he and Shoko used to feed the fish. Soon, everyone else comes over. They argue about who was right or wrong in the past and who is hypocritical or cowardly. It seems nothing has changed. Miki, who likes to shift the blame, still acts like a victim. Naoka, who dislikes Shoko, still wishes Shoko would disappear. And Ishida realizes that the friendship he thought he had regained is just a fragile bubble. A downcast Ishida does not show a good face to anyone and speaks harshly to everyone. Everyone leaves unhappily, leaving only Ishida, Shoko, and Yuzuru. Ishida tries to lighten the mood and asks Shoko if she wants to go somewhere for the summer holidays. But Shoko's face clearly shows tears about to fall. At night, Yuzuru looks through her sister's notebook. The room is decorated with photos of animal dead body, which Yuzuru took specifically to discourage her sister from thinking about killing herself. It turns out that during the time Shoko was bullied, she had thought about killing herself. To make her sister happy, Yuzuru really went to great lengths. She even drops out of school just to spend more time with her sister. The grandmother worries about her always thinking about her sister and not considering herself. Yuzuru responds by asking if the grandmother isn't also learning sign language for Shoko every day. Both of them silently do their best for Shoko because they love her. The grandmother says Yuzuru is a kind child and Shoko is a hardworking child, and she is lucky to have two very good granddaughters. Days go back to the beginning, and Ishida becomes alone again. No matter what, he hopes Shoko can be happy. He waits for her on the bridge where they feed fish, with bread in hand. Instead, he sees her crying sister Yuzuru, who tells him Shoko's grandmother has passed away, and Shoko is very sad. Ishida tries to invite Shoko out to cheer her up. On a slope, he watches Shoko in the sunlight, lost in thought. Many memories flood his mind. He trips and falls. Shoko quickly apologizes to Ishida. Ishida doesn't understand why she apologizes. Shoko uses sign language to say being with her brings bad luck. She believes being with her makes Ishida unhappy. But Ishida feels it's him who made Shoko unhappy. He feels a deep helplessness. How can he make Shoko like herself? After feeling down, he tries to keep going. He wants to make Shoko's life more colorful every day. They prepare a birthday cake for Shoko's mom together. Ishida also plans to watch fireworks with her. The lively fireworks festival starts at dusk and lasts until nightfall. Shoko, in wooden clogs and traditional kimono, looks especially graceful. They find a spot and sit in a row. Countless fireworks explode wildly in the sky, lighting up the night. Shoko closes her eyes gently, feeling everything with her heart. It turns out she can hear the fireworks sound because the low frequency of fireworks is still within her hearing range. After a while, Shoko stands up and says she wants to go home. Ishida gently says the fireworks are not over yet. Shoko signs that she wants to go back and study. Ishida finds it strange but watches her leave. In the crowded, bright lights, Shoko turns back and signs a serious thank you to Ishida. Ishida's sister asks him to get the camera from home. Ishida goes to Shoko's house, which is dark inside. With the fleeting light from the fireworks, he sees Shoko standing by the balcony. Her hair and clothes sway in the wind with the fireworks. She slowly climbs onto the balcony. Fireworks continue to streak across the night sky, blooming wildly and disappearing like shooting stars. Ishida realizes what is happening and rushes over with all his might. Another round of fireworks bursts into the sky. Shoko is no longer on the balcony. Ishida barely catches hold of Shoko, but pulling someone up is no easy task. At this moment, Ishida can only ask for God's help, willing to give anything in return. In his heart, he repeats, "Starting tomorrow, I will not avoid things I dislike. Starting tomorrow, I will listen to everyone's voices." He sees tears in Shoko's eyes and the scar from the time he took her hearing aid. He realizes he never truly apologized to Shoko. Seeing this boy risking everything, Shoko seems to regain some will to live and slowly climbs back up with Ishida's help. But after she climbs up, Ishida falls. Ishida is in a coma in the hospital. Shoko's mother brings Yuzuru to bow and apologize to Ishida's mom. Ishida's mom says to lift their heads, as long as Shoko is safe, that's all that matters. Meanwhile, Naoka takes all her anger out on Shoko. Shoko, like a lost soul, lets Naoka hit and scold her. Shoko's mom rushes over and fights with Naoka. Ishida's mom separates them. Shoko crawls to Ishida's mom, crying and painfully saying sorry. This incident makes everyone reflect on their actions. Afterward, Shoko opens her heart to past friends and decides to change her attitude towards life. With Shoko's encouragement, Miyoko faces her cowardice and decides to be stronger. Naoka takes care of Ishida day and night in the hospital. One night it starts raining heavily and she forgets to bring an umbrella, so Shoko holds one up for her. Miki hears about Shoko trying to jump off the balcony and hugs her, saying everyone must accept their flaws and move forward. Tomohiro constantly prays for Ishida. Shoko and her friends gradually understand that as long as we live, everyone will face pain. We can only overcome hardships and keep moving forward. One night, Shoko dreams of Ishida. He tells her in the dream that Tuesday is almost over and says goodbye. Shoko wakes up and runs to the bridge where they feed fish. Under the moonlight, no one is there. Shoko cries out in sadness. Meanwhile, Ishida seems to dream of something and wakes up from his coma, calling Shoko's name. He pulls off all the medical equipment and slowly walks toward Shoko. Shoko, unable to believe it, gently touches Ishida and finds he is really awake. They are both relieved for each other's safety. Ishida takes this chance to apologize for what happened in elementary school. He believes he caused Shoko's extreme actions of jumping off the balcony. Shoko strongly denies it, crying and saying it's her failure to change that made Ishida this way. Ishida comforts Shoko, saying he once had similar thoughts but it's not a reason to give up life. He asks Shoko to live well. He takes Shoko's hand and makes a friend's sign. Shoko looks at him and signs back promise. Ishida reunites with his classmates. Tomohiro hugs him, crying. Miki gives him 1,000 paper cranes as a good luck charm. Even Naoka, who always disliked Shoko, learns some sign language. Ishida and his friends go to a lively cultural festival. With his friends around, he finally starts to lower his guard and open his heart. He listens to everyone and looks at each face. The world is still the same, and the people are still the same. But everything looks different now, so different that it makes him cry. The movie The Shape of Voice is controversial. Many people think it is overly sentimental and has flawed morals. They question why Shoko falls for Ishida, her former bully, why others don't sincerely apologize, and why it forces a happy ending. However, I personally think this movie is actually about self-redemption and self-acceptance. Bullying is not the main focus, but a trigger for the story. At first, I thought it was just a movie about school bullying, but after watching it, I realized it's about our imperfect lives. Small events leave scars on our hearts. When ignored, they seem to disappear, but they still hurt when touched. In our youth, we have many bitter memories. To protect ourselves, we avoid or resist these memories, sometimes to the point of self-harm. These extreme actions hurt others and ourselves, leading to self-hatred and the desire to escape reality. This creates a sad, endless cycle. This cycle can be broken by realizing two things. First, nobody is perfect. Everyone has flaws and must learn to accept them and live on. Growing up means redeeming, forgiving, correcting, and accepting yourself, and then learning to understand and accept others, eventually making peace with the world. Second, no matter how cold the world seems, there are people who care about us. Even if it's rare or seems insignificant, this care is real. It gives us life reason and meaning. We, like the characters, struggle with how to forgive ourselves and the world. But don't lose hope or give up. These sleepless nights are worth it. Time heals, and one day, we'll look back with pride and relief. The world is both kind and unkind, right and wrong, depending on how we see it. If we hurt others, we'll face consequences, but if we love others, that love will return to us. Communication is more than just words. Even if we can't express it well, the feeling is real. In this way, the shape of voice represents the shape of love in our hearts. Thanks for watching until the end. If you liked my video, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.